What's up, YouTube? It is your guy, Hector, one of the hosts from the Yankees Morning Brew, and we are here Tuesday. Spring training is in full effect, so I had to make the phone call. I had to put out the bag signal from one of my compadres from NYYU, my guy, the sexy Dane Huber. Hey, Dane, how are you feeling, big fella?
Oh, spring training's here, and I couldn't be more excited. Juan Soto's a Yankee, and Giancarlo Stanton looks slimmed down, so I'm excited to see what happens.
Absolutely. You know, seeing that picture from Giancarlo Stanton, I had to take a double stake. First of all, seeing how big Aaron Judge is, I'm not sure if it was Judge bulking up in the offseason, trying to crack another 60 home runs, or Giancarlo Stanton slimming down. To you, Dane, did it look like Aaron Judge put on low some pounds when it comes to the muscles?
Yeah, Stanton and Judge used to be about the same size, and you saw that picture, and Judge looked like he had 40 pounds, 50 pounds on him. It was incredible, the difference.
Yeah, and when go ahead, finish up, Dane.
No, that was it.
No, and all I was going to say is it makes Giancarlo Stanton, the weight loss, stick out a bit more, right? Seeing how big Aaron Judge has gotten and seeing how slim Giancarlo Stanton has gotten, hopefully this just translates to Giancarlo Stanton being healthy for 162 games. We know he takes vacations in the middle of the season. We get it, of 30 days here, 15 days there, but hopefully him slimming down, taking the weight off of the knees will help him as well. What's your thoughts, Dane, before we get to the chat?
I saw some pictures or some video of his batting stance, and the one thing that I wanted to see him do, which was open his stance up to allow him to use his legs more, it looks like he hasn't done. So I'm not sure how optimistic I am about his season. I'm hopeful, but it's Stanton. He's missed 40% of the games he should have played when he's been a Yankee, so I don't have much hope.
Yeah, for me, I think Giancarlo Stanton, he's going to be the ultimate X factor when it comes to this Yankees lineup. I think this offseason was the first time in a long time. I would like to get your perspective on this, Dane, as well when I bring it up. I think Brian Cashman went into this offseason trying to build a roster, not only to compete for this season coming up, but trying to build a roster to supplement if Giancarlo Stanton goes down. I don't think our roster can handle if Aaron Judge goes down, or if Juan. So if any of our top guys goes down, I don't think we'll be able to handle it. But if Giancarlo Stanton goes down, I think Brian Cashman, he built this roster this offseason specifically for that. What's your thoughts on that?
I would agree. I think that he built this roster. It's deeper than the rosters we have seen in the last few years. There's more depth at every position. You have a loaded outfield. You have Everson Pereira, who's still a top 100 prospect that is going to probably start in AAA. You have Jason Dominguez, who's way ahead of schedule, who could fill in that role. I mean, there's lots of pieces that are close to the major leagues that can help impact this team if someone does get hurt. So I'm excited about it.
No, right. It's the same as well. And I think everybody in the chat as well, you got the same excitement myself and Dane has. Let's do a little bit of the roll call. Our friend Jacob Petruzzi is in the building. Petruz, how you doing? Michael Caputis is in the building. Salute Caputs. Hope all is well. Mikey Pellegrino is in the building. Talking about the Pellegrino. Guys, make sure you stay hydrated. Drink your water. Make sure you put some suntan lotion on. I know it's not the summertime, but skin cancer is a thing. Shout out to my guy Dane Huber in the chat and on the panel with me. Anthony Garcia, my brother from the Dominican Republic. Marsh is in the building. 01LS1Z2ADABX. Salute, my guy. NFE in the strike zone. My fault for that one. On Dios NYK. And again, if you guys can, smack the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 4,000 subscribers. We are sitting at 3,536 on our way to 4,000. So if you're watching us for the first time, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If not, I'm going to send Michael Caputo and L.I. Yankee King to your house to give you different trade scenarios, right? So let's get into the first topic of the day. I see we got Jason backstage. Jason, just hold on 1 second. I'll bring you up momentarily. But I want to get into the first topic, right? And the first topic, it's literally the hot button issue that's going on right now. Blake Snell. When it comes to Blake Snell, Dane, I know you and Pete, you guys talked about it on the show like a week or so, but the rumors are coming out that Blake Snell, he has a chance to be a New York Yankee. Now, I'm not sure if this is actual news. The reporting this offseason has been horrible, but when it comes to a potential with the New York Yankees and Blake Snell, Dane, give me a percentage. How you feel? Is it a reality or is just the normal Yankee for clicks? What's your thoughts?
I actually think it's 50-50. Look, he needs a job and he wants to be here playing with Judge and Soto, then maybe he'll take a short-term deal. I'm not sure that they do it because of the luxury tax being 110% plus losing 2 picks, which I really don't care about the picks, but the IFA money would be a real blow if they lost that.
Same.
But if Howell pays $70 million this year, great. It's not my money.
Yeah, no, it's not my money. And we started this off season. I'm gonna bring this up right now because Mark Feinstein, he put it out there as well on Twitter. He said Blake Snell has an offer left on the table from the New York Yankees per sources, although the Giants and the Angels remain as possibilities when it comes to Blake Snell. Now, I don't think Blake Snell is going to get over 200 million. I know Yamamoto, when his contract messed up the pitching market or just free agent market in general. So you have a lot of, if you're Scott Boras and your guy is a 2-time Cy Young winner, you see a guy like Yamamoto get 300 million, you're supposed to try to maximize and get the most for your client. It's his job. But realistically, at the age that he is right now, I don't see him getting that big time contract. I see him in the same range. Remember when Trevor Bauer, you know, the name that nobody want to say, when he won the Cy Young with Cincinnati and he signed with the Dodgers, he was around the same age that Blake Snell was, around 31, 32 years old, and he signed for a shorter year, higher AAV. What do you think realistically Blake Snell is going to get on this market?
I think if he signs a short-term deal, that Trevor Bauer deal is a blueprint of what he should expect. Yeah, I think it was about 100 million for 3 years. I think that's real close. I don't see, even if it's a long-term deal, I don't see him getting over 200 million, which was the rumor that he was looking for. I think he's going to have to decide what's more important to him, playing for a winner or a team that has a chance to win versus going to the Angels or Giants who are in a rebuilding phase.
And if you're Blake Snell, like you said, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be in a situation where every year the team is putting a team out there to compete and try to get a World Series? Or do you want to sign for 7, 8, 9 years and go be with the Angels and be miserable with Mike Trout for the next 9 years for the rest of your career? That's what you have to ask yourself if you're Blake Snell right now, or if you want to go to the San Francisco Giants. And if you decide to go to your Giants, you're never the Giants are never putting a team that's going to be able to compete with the Dodgers. The NL West is going to be the Dodgers for years to come. So if you're Blake Snell, you're definitely not trying to go to the NL West. You want to go, if you're going to go to the West Coast, it's going to be an American League team.
Yeah, that would make the most sense. But what American, well, the Angels, I guess, would be his one choice in the American League. But I don't know. We'll see. It's going to depend.
The rumors with the Mariners this year, moving money around, we haven't seen them. You know, there's no rumors. And credit to the Yankees and Brian Cashman. They're not betting or outbidding themselves. They literally came to the table and said, Dane, you know what? This is my offer. Take it or leave it. There's no rumors that the Giants offered him a contract. There's no rumors that the Angels offered him a contract. So I think this is the perfect way to go about this. Don't outbid yourself.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just let Boras come back to you and see how desperate he gets. If it makes sense, great, do the deal. We're a World Series contending team and have a hell of a rotation if that happens.
I want to shout out the chat real quick. My guy Louis Boogie in the building, who says, what's up, Morning Brew crew? Covering my favorite baseball squad. Let's go. I've been following your Knicks channel, so this is great. Lou, just know you got a place there when it's time to talk Knicks and when it's time to talk Yankees. But we got one more person who's backstage, one more person who is backstage to join us in on this conversation. And I got my guy Jason from 161 River Ave. Jay, let me get a thumbs up, see if you know if you're ready to join us. Copy. So we got Jason. I'm gonna bring him up, put him in the middle. My guy, I'm gonna switch it around. Jace, how you feeling, bro?
HB in the house,
Yes,
DH in the
sir.
house, and Jay's in the house. What's good, gentlemen?
It's a fine looking panel. That's the one thing I could say.
It doesn't get any sexier than these three right here. At least we're humble about it. So, you know.
Facts. Shout out to the chat as well. I see we got LI Yankee King in the building, and I see we got Los from Yankee Farm, fellas.
Los,
Post to the
what's
chat.
up?
If you guys aren't subscribed to Yankee Farm, I will put the link to their channel in the description of this video after the show. But make sure you guys go and support Los and Dane. They do amazing work over there when it comes to the Yankees Farm. Go support, subscribe to that channel. Same thing with Jason from 161. You guys obviously know him. But if you don't, get up from under the rock. What are you doing with your life? I'm going to throw it to my guy, Jay. Jay, you've been listening to the conversation about Sir Blake Snell. How are you feeling? What's the reality? Or is this just Yankees for clicks when it comes to Blake Snell?
I think there's so many different ways to think about this, right? And, you know, on one take, I understand Scott Boras trying to generate the interest in his pitchers because it makes more sense to get his pitchers signed first before the offensive players do, right? It's important to get all of his players signed, but the pitchers need to get here. They need to get into camp, and you need to get their building their innings up and stuff because now they're going to have to choose between an abbreviated spring or a spring going into their season and an abbreviated season, right?
Yeah.
It's not like the offensive players need about 3 to 4 weeks to get their timing. The pitchers need a little bit longer to build up their arm strength and their endurance. So that's one way of looking about it. And then to Dane's point too, and to what you guys are saying too, like, is he trying to gin up this interest? Is he trying to get Hal to blink and overpay, right? Because obviously he wants to get the most amount of years and money for his clients. That's his job. You know, and I'm guessing that's one reason they countered at 9 years as for the Yankees 5, because the midpoint would be 7 instead of countering at 7 where the midpoint would be 6. So he's trying to finagle that extra year wherever he can for his client. I get that too. But I do think he's probably misread the market for a couple of his clients.
Oh, yeah.
And at this point, he's got to get his pitcher signed. But if I was the Yankees, I'd be like, look, I'm going to give you an offer right now. And I want you to present it to Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. This is an offer for whatever it is, 3 or 4 years. We're comfortable with it. You have 24 hours to respond, or I'm pulling both offers. Play their card against them, right?
Yeah.
And like, look, we put the money on the table already for Snell. This is the second time for him. And we want Montgomery too. So you have a chance to get one of your clients signed by this team right now. Talk to them. Come back. We need to get this signed. We need to get your physical passed, and we need to get you in camp immediately.
Yeah, so, like LI Yankee King pointed out in the chat, and I would like to get Dane's perspective on this as well. If Blake Snell was to sign this late into free agency, he's going to go down to Scranton, right? Blake Snell, we know he never makes 32 starts in a season, but right now with him signing this late in free agency, spring training games are about to start, he's going to probably make 28 starts at the most. You're going to get out of Blake Snell, maybe 26 to 28 starts, depending on, you know, if he had how much of a setback his spring training is. What's your thoughts on that, Dane, real quick?
I think Blake Snell's probably working by himself somewhere in a lab, keeping his arm in shape. I don't know that he'll come in behind. Where he'll be behind is bonding with the team, getting used to his other rotation mates, that kind of thing. But I don't think his arm will be out of shape that would cost him time and when the year starts.
Okay. All right. So you think he'll be ready to go out the gate? He won't have that extra abbreviated spring training. We don't have to worry about him trying to rush things back.
Yeah, I think that he's working on his own.
All right. Listen, if that's the case, sign me up, and I'll throw it over to you, Jason. The idea, right? And I just want to bring this up real quick because, you know, someone on Twitter, and shout out to all the different Yankee content creators and all the different voices that contributes to Yankees Twitter. But my guy Richie said, if the Yankees are impressed with Clark Smith's development, don't let that be the deciding factor whether or not you go out there and you get Blake Snell. You go out there, you get Blake Snell, and you have him battle it out when it comes to Clark Smith. Had Clark Smith battle it out with Nestor Cortez for that 5th spot in the rotation. And I want to throw it over to you, Jason. What's your thoughts on that when it comes to Clark Smith? Listen, Clark Smith, guy we developed. Hopefully he has a phenomenal season. But I'm not going to let Clark Smith stop me from getting Blake Snell. It's going to be more money than anything else. What's your thoughts, Jason? And throw it over to Dane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm looking at it both ways. I'm not going to let Clark Schmidt get in the way of signing Blake Snell. and I'm not going to let Blake Snell get in the way of keeping Clark Schmidt in the rotation either. So I would, at that point, it would be Clark Schmidt versus Nestor Cortes for the 5 spot. And I'm totally okay. I know some people are not, but with moving Nestor Cortes into a spot starter swingman role just to protect him, because I would rather have a healthy season of like 120, 130 innings of Nestor Cortes instead of trying to get him 160, 170 and then getting hurt. Okay. I'd rather have a full season of a healthy Cortes and a full season of Luke Weaver, because not only does it protect the rotation, but it also protects guys like Will Warren. Instead of having to throw him to the Wolves and expecting him to throw 180 innings as a rookie, you can ease him in, having Blake Snell is there and the top of the end rotation protection, and then you'd have the part of the rotation protected in both ways too. So I think Nestor Cortes' versatility can come into play here. But at the end of the day, I would let him and Schmidt battle it out for the 5 spot. Whoever wins, wins. And whoever doesn't goes to long relief. Period.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are talking about the Yankees payroll, and Dane, you brought up the tax, right? And I think for the first season, that's going to hurt us a lot when it comes to the tax. That 35 million could potentially be over 70 million, around like 74 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But when you look at the Yankees payroll going forward, we got Tommy Kahnle 5 million coming off of the books next year, right? Juan Soto's 31 million. That's going to come off the books. You could give him a $15 million raise, and he'll be making 45 or 50 million, right? But you still have Gleyber Torres is 14 million, Alex Verdugo's 8 million, Clay Holmes 6 million. So we have some money coming off of the books on top of the dead money that we have on top of the books. From the tax perspective, I know over 70 million, you said it, right? It's not our money, but is there reality where Hal Steinbrenner says, you know what, we're trying to go all in, screw it, take the checkbook, here's the blank check? Is that cool?
I really don't know. It's really up to Hal. He's the one that's going to be expending the money. It really depends on how much they want to impress Juan Soto. If you get him, you get Snell here, that's a championship caliber rotation. And maybe that plays into keeping Soto long term. But as far as spending the money, that's directly on Hal. No one else can make that decision.
If you were Hal Steinbrenner, granted, it's a big hypothetical, right? Because we ain't rich like Hal Steinbrenner. I'm a thousandaire, right? I got a few hundreds in the bank account, right? But if you were Hal Steinbrenner, Dane, and you're trying to impress Juan Soto, like you said, are you going to go all in this season? Make that sacrifice?
Yeah, I think I would, but I think it would be Jordan Montgomery I would go to over Blake Snell, because that international free agency money, I know that's not a big deal to a lot of people, but we have some really special kids we're signing next year. And I'm telling you, you don't want to miss out on Ruben Castillo. An example of that is Samuel Basallo, Orioles number 3 prospect. He's number 15 overall. He was ours. And we lost IFA money a couple of years ago, went to the Orioles. Now he's the number 10 prospect in baseball, left-hand hitting catcher, first baseman. So I think about it from that way, but I come at everything from a prospect's perspective. So I'm probably the wrong guy to ask.
No. And listen, that's a fair argument. When you have those extra things that's attached to a player, you not only have to give up the money, but you have to give up the 2 draft picks that come with it and the international signing money, like you said, the IFA money. Since 2019, you brought up this on the show last time, the Yankees, they revamped their farm system. Over this offseason, the Yankees were voted as the #1 team in all of Major League Baseball since 2020 to use their international system the proper way by every other team in Major League Baseball. So that's the one thing Yankee fans always got to keep in the back of their mind. Yeah. But if we were to lose those draft picks in the international free agent money, I don't think the Yankees are going to re-sign Gleyber Torres. So I can see the Yankees, cool, we can lose that out by signing Blake Snell, but I think the Yankees will tag that qualifying offer on Gleyber Torres, and hopefully another team bites this offseason and we get those draft picks and international free agency money back with Gleyber Torres going to another team. Is that a possibility for you, Dane?
It's a possibility, but if we sign Snell this year, Torres money wouldn't count, or Torres qualifying offer would be for the next class.
Copy.
So we're not going to, they can always trade for international free agency money, but that's really hard to get.
Nah, I get it. And like I said, very dope perspective, because Dane and Carlos on the Yankees farm, I'm gonna highlight my guy Los in the chat right now. They do amazing work covering the Yankees farm system. Jason, I want to throw it over to you and get your conversation and get your thoughts on Jordan Montgomery. What's your thoughts? Do you think the Yankees will circle back around for and reach out to Jordan Montgomery for the points that Dane laid out? What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, the first thing that pops up in my head is Blake Snell is obviously been an ace in the regular season, but Montgomery is also shown to be an ace in the postseason. So, and where does it count the most for the Yankees right now? Is there that much of a drop-off between Cole and Montgomery than it is for Cole and Snell? If no matter who they bring in, will the Yankees rotation have enough to get to the postseason for Montgomery to make an impact in the postseason? And to Dane's point too, which is a valuable point, the international money, the Yankees are essentially linked to these next 2 years of top guys. And the last thing we want to do, and the last thing we want to do is forfeit. And like you said, to your point too, Hector, you can give Torres a qualifying offer. If Verdugo has a good year, you can give him a qualifying offer too.
Bingo, as well.
So you can get double, and which would be, for the next class. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't mind whether it's Snell or Montgomery at this point. I just want to give one of them to get into camp. They're both veterans too, to Dane's point. So the likeliness of them getting into some trouble, into the season, having an abbreviated spring is probably lesser than the younger players would be. But you still want to get them here. But I'm just as fine with Montgomery coming and as I am with Snell coming. I think it's still a championship rotation and team with either one of these guys here.
Yeah, I think going into this season, if we don't add anybody else, before the season starts, I think we could say hypothetically the New York Yankees right now, we're 7 to 8 guys strong when it comes to our starting rotation and our depth. We have our number 1 through 5 starters, but when you look at Luke Weaver, Chase Hampton in the minor leagues, Clayton Beater, and Will Warren, those are 9 guys during the season. And on top of Luis Hill and the other guys that we have that we can go to, Yorenji Gomez as well, who could give us some quality innings. So I think the Yankees are not 100% set, right? If you can add Blake Snell, why wouldn't you add Blake Snell? It would just give you more favor and more odds of getting to the dance in the postseason. But I think going into the season, they're content and set with the starting rotation that they have. I think the big loss was Corbin Burns being traded to the Baltimore Orioles. Dane, I wanted to key this up specifically for you. Spencer Jones, I know you said that you would have traded Spencer Jones for Corbin Burns, right? I'm on the same tip with you, but the Yankees not making that move. Give some of the fans the reasonings why the Yankees may not have made that move in your eyes when it comes to Jonesy.
Spencer Jones is probably the best athlete that most of us have ever seen. He's got some of the highest sprint speed in Major League Baseball. He's as fast as Ellie De La Cruz and Corbin Carroll. So he stole 40 bases last year, and this is coming from a guy who's 6'7", 230. The biggest issue with Jones last year was his strikeout rate, and it was above 30% for a while, but he actually dropped that below 28% in AA. The guy has all the tools and talent to be an elite player. There's no comparison between him and Judge except the height. They're completely different kind of players. Spencer Jones is more Cody Bellinger, Kyle Tucker with elite speed. Kind of, that would be my comp for him. This is a guy who had the highest average exit velocity in all of minor league baseball last year. Only translated into 16 home runs, but he had 30 plus doubles. So they're trying to work on his launch angle a little bit. He's more like Giancarlo Stanton, where he hits those missiles that just go out, which only led to 16 home runs last year, even though he had the highest exit velocity in the minor leagues. They're working to get his exit velocity up. If that happens and the kid can get a strikeout rate in the 21, 22 range, I think he's a superstar.
Yeah. When it comes to Spencer Jones and coming out of Vanderbilt, and this is the one thing I've always told Yankee fans, we are lucky that Spencer Jones fell to us in the draft, because that's what happened. He fell to us in the draft because he got injured with Tommy John and he had to sit out. If Spencer Jones never got injured and he didn't miss a year of his development in college, Spencer Jones would have been a top 5 prospect in that draft. I guarantee that. I've talked to a lot of people, and they said the same thing. Jason, I want to throw it over to you to get your take when it comes to Corbin Burns and the Yankees missing out on him. I know we talked about Corbin Burns as a possibility, but give us your take when it comes to that. I know you may have talked about it on your show, but for people in the chat that may not have listened, how do you feel about that?
Had it been 2 or 3 years of Corbin Burns, I would have considered Spencer Jones, but there was no way I was going to bet him up for 1 year for Corbin Burns, at least me, because even if you re-sign him, you know, his decline years are going to be on the same trajectory as Garrett Cole's decline years. So if I was going to bring in a pitcher, I want a much younger pitcher who can offset the decline years with some upper trajectory years. That's the first thing I looked at. But you know, to Dane's point too, I mean, and it's not like Spencer Jones came from Appalachian State. He was at Vanderbilt. So this is a very elite baseball program. And, you know, and he has all the makings of a superstar. And I hope that it turns out that way. And he's right too. He's got to, you know, got to get the K rate down. And he's working on some of these things. He's also getting a first baseman glove. So, you know, a way of maximizing his abilities to potentially get him in the lineup with guys like Dominguez, with guys like Soto and Judge, is to give him some practice at first base for a position change to eventually potentially replace an Anthony Rizzo. That way he's not blocked in any way here.
I just hold on. Give me 1 second, real quick. Right, the first thing, you know, you guys know, everybody that's in the chat, we appreciate everybody that's in the chat. I appreciate all the moderators, everybody that likes us, everybody who's subscribed to us. But the one thing I do not tolerate, if you don't agree with me, if you don't agree with Jason, if you don't agree with Dane, you keep your comments to yourself. You don't talk about other channels in our chat. We don't tolerate that whatsoever. So there's a guy in the chat, Bobby Hart. If one of my moderators in the chat, block him from the channel, please, because I do not tolerate that whatsoever. You guys know it's an open panel for everybody to have a conversation and join us in the conversation. We do not like that nonsense in the chat. So if anybody in the chat, if you guys can, delete that person, block him from the chat. He can never be in the chat ever again. I don't care if I lose a subscriber. I don't like people doing that. I like to have a nice conversation. Dane's my friend. Jason's my friend. People in the chat, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. But besides that, when it comes to Corbin Burns, right, back to the conversation. When it comes to Corbin Burns, the reason why I was so willing myself, right, everybody else have their own opinion, but myself, I felt like it was necessary for the Yankees to trade for him for the simple fact of you're trying to impress Juan Soto in his first go around with the New York Yankees, and having Corbin Burns in that starting rotation behind Garrett Cole, it just made us more of a favorite to get to that dance in the postseason. Granted, he went to the Orioles, so when a lot of Yankee fans are losing their mind about, look, the Orioles got him, and how can we compete with the Orioles? If you were to put our roster and the Orioles roster right there, Dan, I'm gonna ask you a question: is Corbin Burns better than Garrett Cole?
No.
No.
And it's
Jason,
not really close.
Is Corbin Burns better than Garrett Cole?
No.
Absolutely not. How old is Adley Rutschman, Dane?
26.
20, yeah.
He is the same age as Juan Soto, who's an established superstar. Now, I'm not trying to knock those young players on the Baltimore Orioles. They snuck up on everybody last year. People are going to be prepared for the Orioles this season. And I'm not 100% sold on Craig Kimbrell being a lockdown closer in the American League East. He could probably do that in the NL Central, but I'm not sure about the American League East. What's your thoughts, Dane? And then throw it over to Jason as well.
As far as Craig Kimbrell, the Orioles have such a deep farm system that if an elite closer becomes available, they can go get him without affecting the major league roster at all. So they probably look to upgrade that around the deadline. I think it's going to be a real tight battle between the Yankees and Orioles. The Orioles have the #1 prospect in Jackson Holiday coming, and he's going to factor into that team in a big way. So it just, a lot of things have to go right for both teams to win the division. So
true.
Yeah. Jason, how do you feel about going into this? And granted, right, I know the Yankees 82-80, right? We didn't even come close to first place. I granted it's a lot of shit for us to talk, but you cannot tell me if you were to add a healthy Aaron Judge, and a healthy Juan Soto to that team last year, we don't get an extra 10 wins and get to 92 wins, you're smoking something if you don't think that. The Texas Rangers, they won the World Series, winning 90 games. Go ahead, Jason.
It's true. And again, I understand the appeal of trading for Corbin Burns because it's Corbin freaking Burns. But to Dane's point too, I could see the Orioles trading for a Devin Williams or even a Dylan Cease without affecting their major league roster. They could trade for both if they want, and their major league roster will be fine. But this is the first time in a while that, even though in a comparison is like the Orioles have had almost a decade of bad years, so they've had a decade of high draft picks, and they've done great development of these high draft picks. The Yankees have not had high draft picks. I can't remember the last time the Yankees. So the Yankees are doing just as good of a job right now at developing players on lower draft picks than Orioles are in high draft picks. Right, my little assistants in the background. So the Yankees are in a position now where they can compete farm-wise and major league-wise with the Orioles and teams like some of these guys. So, and we haven't been able to say that in a while. So I'm more confident with the Yankees now at the major league level and the farm level as I can't remember the last time I've been this confident. So no, I'm okay with the Orioles getting Corbin Burns. And we'll see if they can re-sign him. They're in a better position to re-sign him. If not, I would imagine the Yankees are probably going to be in the hunt. If they don't bring in like a Monty or a Snell. But at the end of the day, I'm fine with them bringing in Stroman. It looks like a good fit, and I like what they have right now. So and our offense is just going to be crazy good. I think it's going to be crazy good.
Yeah, no, for me, when it comes to Stroman, right, I think Stroman, and again, right, shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys. One of the top chats out there. We got over 150 people in the building watching us right now. If you guys can, smack the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got 56 likes on the stream. Let's get the likes up. Let's get to 100. So smack the like button for your boys as we continue the conversation. When it comes to Marcus Stroman, I think he's going to be a solid pitcher with the Yankees this year, right? He's pitched in the AL East. Granted, I know he probably ticked off a lot of Yankee fans on Twitter. Just go and block him on Twitter so he doesn't hurt your fifis out there on X, right? But for me, I think Marcus Stroman, one thing you can't deny is that he has a set of balls on him. That's the one thing you can't deny about Marcus Stroman. He's not going to run from the media. He's not going to run from the fans. He's not going to run from anyone's question. And as a New Yorker and as a Yankee fan, that's how we feel on the inside, right? If I'm in Target and somebody push my cart or bump into me, I'm going to take 3 seconds and tell you off real quick, and I'm going to keep it pushing. And I think that's the attitude that Marcus Stroman has right now. But I want to switch gears real quick, right? I know a lot of people are talking about Spencer Jones in the chat, but Anthony Pulso in the chat said, did Judge spill some news today about something is brewing when it comes to pitching? Who is he talking about? Again, it's still the Blake Snell conversation. Before we get to Juan Soto, I just want to ask you guys, did you guys listen to Aaron Judge today? Because I felt like he was dropping some team, especially when it comes to Verdugo, right? He was quick to say Verdugo was playing through injuries last year. A lot of criticisms from people from the Red Sox, side of baseball saying Verdugo is lazy. He's not a team player. I was quite surprised seeing Aaron Judge. One of the first things he did address in that press conference was Verdugo and how much of a team player and gutsy guy that he is. Dane, I'll throw it over to you to get your take on that and then throw it over to Jace.
I love what Aaron Judge is doing this spring. He seems to be stepping into that vocal leadership role where he's helping kids behind the scene with Anthony Volpe working on a full field approach. He's really becoming the leader that we didn't see him be last year. And I'm really excited about that. I think that that's going to be a great thing for us going forward.
Yeah. Jace, Jace is talking real quick. He's a bit busy. Jace, I want to get your take when it comes to Aaron Judge and his press conference today. What was your takeaways from that?
I'm the same thing. He was captaining today. He was acting like the captain, was leading the squad, and we needed that, right? And it was refreshing to hear. And, and in terms of like Verdugo, he's known as being opinionated, as is Stroman and all this stuff. But who was opinionated, who also backed it up with great play here? David Wells. People loved him. So I think we're going to have that same affection for Stroman and Verdugo as we did David Wells. But again, did he drop a hint maybe that the Yankees are working on something? He's not telling us something we don't already know. They're quietly working on stuff. We've been saying it for months, and people think we're crazy because we keep saying it, but it's true. And what that means, we have no idea. We'll just have to wait and see what type of move they make. But I really like the fact that Judge is becoming a vocal leader too. And he was always kind of a quiet leader. Now he's becoming more upfront about it. And he's speaking his mind and kind of steering the ship in a way that we needed him to steer the ship. So kudos to him for that.
As a Yankee fan, I think it's I'm pretty exciting seeing Aaron Judge standing on business when it comes to these type of conversations with the press. And like you said, this is what a captain does. You know, Judge for years, I know a lot of people always said he handles the media like Derek Jeter does, right? But at the same time, some people said, well, a lot of his answers are very robotic and like copy and paste. This press conference showed me Aaron Judge is cooking with something different. I don't know what he was having this offseason. I don't know what diet he was eating this offseason, but I think this season for 2024 is going to be very special. And you heard Aaron Judge said, listen, I was telling the front office to go get Verdugo for some while now. That's the type of player that we need. He was pointing out the different additions when you come to Trent Grisham, and no shade to the guys that were on our team last year, right? No shade to Bowers, no shade to Willie McKinney, no shade to Willie Calhoun and Billy McKinney, no shade to those guys, but they can't hold Alex Verdugo's jockstrap. They can't hold Trent Grisham's jockstrap. Those are actual MLB outfielders. And when you look at the construction of our roster and of our outfield, boys, this is like the best outfield we've had in years. When was the last time we've actually had an outfield that was this good? Honestly, think about it. If you think about it, Judge in center, Juan Soto in right, and Verdugo in left field. When was the potential of Jason Dominguez coming back at the All-Star break? When was the last time we had an outfield like this?
I'll give you one crazy stat. I mean, the Yankees had minus 26 defensive runs saved in the outfield last year. Verdugo's plus 9 by himself. It's a complete reversal and an offset. So the defensive run saved and the run prevention mechanism has gotten so much better this offseason with him and Grisham that it's going to be in a kind of an underrated level of improvement for the Yankees that I think should not be overlooked.
Dang, what's your thoughts on that real quick?
This is the best outfield I can remember the Yankees having. It really is, as far as talent, as far as production. I think Alex Verdugo was a great pickup. He's a gritty, grindy player. I think that he adds contact to that lineup, and he's versatile enough to hit in pretty much anywhere in the order. And Trent Grisham is a Gold Glove center fielder, and that's
our fourth outfielder. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
That was a fourth outfielder, and it's just phenomenal the depth that they have put into this team this year. It's nothing like last year.
No, it's a total 180 when it comes to the roster construction. And one of the guys that I want to highlight too, he had his first introductory yesterday when it comes to being a member of the New York Yankees. But before I do that, I want to shout out the chat. One of the best chats that out there, my guy Anthony Garcia. Salute to you, brother. Tim King of the Jordans is in the building. My guy, Ultra Cowboy fan. Ocean Views and Coffee Shop is in the building. Brett Alexander, I see you, my guy. Mikey Perez, what it do? Salute to you. Appreciate you, Mike. Thank you for your service. We got over 165 people in the building. If you guys can, smack the like button, hit that subscribe button, and I appreciate everybody tuning in today. Like I've said on many different shows, I may not agree with everyone out there in our Yankee community, right? But the one thing that I always stand on when it comes to having these conversations or talking about the team is I don't tell people how to fan. I'm not going to tell someone this is how you should fan. This is how you should have your views. Absolutely not. If I don't agree with you, cool. You can have your take as long as we're civil and respectful at the end of the day. So we appreciate everybody that's in the chat that's being respectful and being civil as well, because the moderators, they will hit you with that block button. And I appreciate the moderators, the top moderators in the entire YouTube community. Julia says, is this man in the middle a janitor for the Yankees? No, I am not a janitor for the Yankees, right? What I am is a guy who has Power Rangers behind me and love talking about the Yankees. I am not a janitor. But I want to bring up The guy, Mr. Juan Soto, let's talk about him real quick. Brandon Cuddy put it out there on Twitter. Watching Juan Soto's first day with the Yankees, it was easy to imagine him being here for another decade. Unfortunately, it won't be that easy. When it comes to Juan Soto, a lot of people are saying this could be one and done or Juan and done. Dane, I'll throw it over to you. How do you feel about the Yankees' chances when it comes to re-signing Juan Soto?
I'm very high on their chances to re-sign Soto. We already knew that Hal wanted to go after him when he was a free agent. They got a chance to trade for him a year early. We have a year to be able to show him the Yankee way, get him in the clubhouse, get him used to everything. And he's going to see so many fastballs hitting in front of Aaron Judge that he may never want to leave. I'm very high on our chances, and they have to be all in on getting him. There's no replacing Juan Soto.
Jace, I'll throw it over to you to get your take as well. And folks in the chat, let us get a thumbs up. Let's get a thumbs down. Let's get the poll going. So if you could put the poll in the chat, do you think the Yankees will re-sign Soto? Jace, how you feeling?
Meaning, he's the perfect complement to Aaron Judge too. Whether they bat 2-3 or 3-2, it doesn't really matter. Both of them are going to they're going to be a nightmare for pitchers. But I also noticed that he brings a lot of charisma to the team. A lot of personality and charisma, and I think it's going to rub off on a lot of players as well, whether it be Jason Dominguez or just the guys that are in the lineup on a regular basis. And having that loose type of energy and with that focus that he brings and that his elite plate recognition and his elite contact skills are going to make him a very special member of this team. And to Dane's point too, the Yankees having him here for a year puts them, I think they have a built-in advantage, especially if they win and show them the Yankee way and have a great season, that they'll have an advantage of re-signing him. And did I think it was never going to get the free agency? No, because it's when you have an opportunity like that, this could be the biggest free agent ever, right?
Yeah.
So how could he not let him get the free agency? So, but the fact that they're going to have him here and built in for the year, I think they're going to have an advantage, and he'll be well versed in the Yankee way and being a Yankee for a whole entire year. And again, the Latin community is going to love him. The baseball community, the Yankee fan community is going to love him. Period. He's going to get an endless amount of love here.
One other thing I wanted to go ahead, Dave. Juan Soto went to the Yankees DR Academy to speak with their young kids
last week.
Now last week. He's only here for a year. If he was not planning on hopefully being around here longer, I don't think he would go down there and speak to those kids. So that gives me even more confidence that he wants to be a Yankee long term.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you, Dane. I got somebody else backstage that I'm about to bring up right now. My guy Richie Rivera from Empire State of Baseball. Richie, let me get a thumbs up backstage. Let me know you're ready to rock and roll. So I'm gonna bring up my guy Richie Rivera. Richie guy, how are you feeling, big fella?
What's going on, Hector? Thanks for having me on. Shout out to you, Dane, Jason. Nice meeting you guys virtually. And shout out to the chat. The best chat of the live streams right here at Morning Brew Sports. Shout out to you guys as well. Hector, I'm so hyped up that I forgot the question you just asked. What was the question?
No, listen, listen, the floor is yours. You're coming into the conversation. We're talking about Juan Soto right now and the potential of him re-signing with the New York Yankees this offseason. When I ask you, Richie, how are you feeling? A lot of people out there saying it's going to come down to the Mets and the Yankees. I know you do a show with a couple of Mets guys. So what's the take from that point of view?
Oh, they think they have Juan Soto locked and loaded for 2025. So it's an exciting chat when you have to talk to two Met fans on a constant basis that are positive about it. To be honest with you, Hector, and all, I'm 50-50. As long as Juan Soto is in business with Scott Boras, nothing is a guarantee. At the end of the day, Scott Boras is going to try to get the most out of his clients. As you've seen, it has not really worked out for him. As you see, the top 4 free agents are still available, and it's kind of crazy, Hector, from the last time I was on the show, that there's still free agents in baseball. This is going back now to mid-January. Like, are you kidding me? As long as Scott Boras is in business with Juan Soto, I don't care if Juan Soto gets the red carpet treatment. I don't care if he looks like a rock star. I don't care if he has an MVP season, hits 63 home runs. He's still going to test the market, and he's still going to go to the highest bidder. And yeah, I want to say, okay, as a Yankee fan, it's great to have him in-house. and he's getting adjusted. And as Dane mentioned before, he's visiting the Dominican communities, and that's fantastic. Other players have been that charitable in the past and have walked away still. So I'm 50-50 here. I'm holding my bated breath. And of course, I hope he's back in pinstripes.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, Rich. When it comes down to it, I don't think the New York Yankees, as much shit, and I'm gonna just use that word. Sorry for cursing, folks in the chat. As much shit as we give Brian Cashman and Howard Steinbrenner, I don't think the New York Yankees make that move, Dane, without penciling $60 million ready to give Juan Soto for next year. I don't think the New York Yankees make that move without knowing, hey, we could re-sign him. We have $60 million put aside. Because if you think of it, Juan Soto's $31 million is going to come off the books. Let's just do the math. Let's go to school, right. Hooked on phonics. Like, do it. Morning Brew, Hooked on Phonics edition. I got you. So let's do the math. $31 million, right? Most likely, Gleyber Torres, he's walking away. That's $14 million right there. You combine those contracts, that's $45-46 million just from Gleyber Torres and what Juan Soto made this year. So if Juan Soto walks, if Gleyber Torres walks away in free agency, most like he is, just take whatever money he's making, slap it onto whatever Juan Soto is making right now, and that's his contract extension. If you do the numbers, I see people in the chat saying $600 million. He's 25, going to be 26 in the season. If you do the numbers, $600 million divided by 14, it's basically $43 million a season. Now, I don't think Aaron Judge is going to have an issue with Juan Soto making more money than him. I'll throw it over to you, Dane, because Derek Jeter had no issue with Alex Rodriguez making more money than him when it came to his AAV. Dane, I'll throw it over to you when it comes to those numbers. And what do you think realistically is the figure in your head when it comes to Sotito?
I got 600 million like you do. I think it's going to take that to lock him up. As far as Aaron Judge, Aaron Judge wants to win World Series, and there's not a whole lot better guy to do it with for him than Juan Soto. I mean, that could be the best 1, 2, or 2, 3 since Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz.
Oh yeah.
So I think they have to be all in to extend him, and they can't let anybody outbid him. In my opinion, they have to keep this guy.
Yeah, he's going to make his money. The money you're going to spend on Juan Soto, you're going to make that back off of jersey sales. You're going to make that back off of chicken tendies. You're going to make that back off of season ticket sales. You get Juan Soto and have him here for the Yankees for the next 10 years is going to be phenomenal. Dane brought up Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz. This is what people are not factoring into it. The Caribbean component of it, the fact that he is Dominican. When Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, and Pedro Martinez was on the Red Sox, a big section or a big generation of folks from the Dominican Republic grew up as Red Sox fans to root for those guys. You have a big part of Rhode Island that is filled with people from the Dominican Republic because it's close to Boston, so they could go back and forth and see the game. You get Juan Soto here for the next 10 years, it will have that same impact on the island. You will have a new generation of kids growing up in DR idolizing Juan Soto the same way he idolized Robinson Cano when Cano played for the Yankees.
And we got a kid that can learn from him in Jason Dominguez.
Shout out to my guy, Damian Serrano. He just brought a coffee right now. I appreciate you, Damian, as well. Mets will always be the red-headed stepchild. Soto will retire a Yankee. Damian, appreciate you for that. And for folks in the chat, we are giving up for spring training. So if you guys can, drop a super chat, drop a coffee. It will help us get out to spring training. I will be there. I'll be linking up with Phil Porto as well, the rest of the Morning Brew. And then afterwards, NYYU will be taking over Tampa, and we will be violating for spring training. Unfortunately, Dane won't be there, right? I wanted to get Dane drunk and have him going streaking, but that's not going to happen. But again, I want to bring this up real quick. Talking about Soto, right? Brian Holt said, this is what Juan Soto said. We have everything that we need. The talent, the organization, it's amazing. It's incredible. And we're more excited about this season. Someone just brought up Jason Dominguez, and Jason, me and you, we talked about it when we first linked up talking about Yankees. I always envisioned best case scenario. You have Jason Dominguez and you have Juan Soto. Juan Soto is that big brother mentoring Jason Dominguez. Yep. You saw the videos on Twitter. Him and Jason Dominguez already working out and building mentorship relationship, right? And as a Yankee fan, I'm super excited about that. Let's go around real quick talking about that relationship where Dane, I'll throw it over to you first because you cover the Yankees minor leagues, and then throw it over to Rich, and then Jason talking about Soto and Dominguez and how impactful it could be for him.
There's no better mentor for Jason Dominguez than Juan Soto. If you look at Jason's numbers, he's a great guy that makes great swing decisions, walks a ton. That's what Juan Soto does. There's a perfect mentorship there. And but the Austin Wells is also half Dominican. So there is another Dominican player that he can mentor there. I think that what he can do with the young kids that we have coming is going to be phenomenal. There's no better person to learn from than Juan Soto and Aaron Judge.
Yeah, no, and that potential is crazy to think about when September come around, but I'm gonna slow down my expectations. We haven't even had our first spring training game. Rich, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Same question going your way. What's your thoughts on that,
yeah,
bro?
Of course. I'll come at it from a different way. What other player can understand coming up as a teen to the Major League Baseball level than Juan Soto? When Juan Soto came up, people forget Juan Soto was 19 years old. Jason Dominguez, I believe, also 19, if not 20. No, he was 20. He just turned 21. He could drink a beer just like me right now in the pod. So he came up as a 20-year-old. So he could understand coming up in that spot, and to do it in such a big market, I think Soto could do a really good job of being a brain to the ear of Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Jason, what's your thoughts on that real quick before we switch topics?
You guys make awesome points here. And again, I agree. I mean, who better to have than learn from a Juan Soto and Aaron Judge? And to Dean's point too, I do think that the value of Juan Soto is going to go beyond financial, but I do think $600 million is probably going to be the floor in terms of what a Juan Soto extension would cost. And to Rich's point, which is a valuable point too, I think Scott Boras is depending on this unpredictability because that's advantage Scott Boras. He wants people worrying. He wants people panicking, right, in terms of his clients. So it's going to play right into Boras's hands. So, but at the end of the day, Scott Boras, I mean, everybody knows Juan Soto's value. You can just watch him play. He's going to get paid no matter what.
Yeah.
So no matter by who, no matter where it is, we just hope that it's by the Yankees. Because and he's the building block here.
And Juan Soto, he is box office. He is big time. And that's the one thing the Yankees been lacking ever since Alex Rodriguez retired or was forced to retire back before Judge came up and all the other baby bombers came up as well. I just want to bring this up real quick. So I want to switch topics momentarily. But before we do that, folks in the chat, we are sitting at 3,550 subscribers. We are 50 away from 3,600, on our way to 4,000 subs before the season starts. So if you're watching us and if you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. And again, appreciate everybody that's in the chat for being respectful. And we will have an open panel later on in the show. I just want to make sure, Dane, you good on timing? Everything's good. I just want to make sure I respect your time. Everybody's good. Copy. So I want to bring up the next topic. And this is the guy that always been getting beat around by Yankee fans. But we got to talk about Brian Cashman, right? My guy, Real Bolshak on Twitter, he put this out there. And I saw this and I was like, you know what? Let me grab this for the show. But he is giving Brian Cashman an A+++ offseason. Juan Soto, his favorite player in baseball, is now wearing pinstripes. The prospect that are in the farm system and the pitching coaches, their development is A1. So we got to talk about it when it comes to Brian Cashman and this offseason. I do not think it's an A+++, as my guy Real Bolshak on Twitter put it. I will put it as a B+. But if the Yankees are able to sign Blake Snell, and it's an affordable contract, short-term, high money for the next 2-3 years, then I would give him an A+. Dane, I'll throw it over to you. What's your takes when it comes to Cashman and this offseason?
You know, I've been really critical of Brian Cashman. The roster he put together last year was crap. It was just unbalanced. It was horrible. He went in this offseason, and our biggest problem was on base percentage, scoring runs, and not being left-handed. He goes and gets Juan Soto, Alex Verdugo, and Trent Grisham. Solved a lot of those problems. I think it's a B plus off season for me. Anytime you get Juan Soto, it's a B at least. And then I like what they've done with Stroman. I think it takes a lot of balls for him to come here, especially for less money and less years than he had offers on the table for. I think this is a good off season, and I would say it's a B plus.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think anybody else in the chat. Most people are saying B's as well in the chat. My guy RDG saying, digging the stream. Hector is a great host. One thing that's great about this stream is the chat and how people are very interactive in the chat. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody else that comes up to the open panel. Artie, just so you know, if you're new, let us know. But make sure you subscribe to Jason for 161. Make sure you subscribe to Yankees Farm and Dane Cuba, also NYYU, and also support my guy Richie Rivera, Empire State of Baseball. Appreciate you for watching, clicking the like button, and appreciating that. So I'm gonna throw it over to you, Rich, to get your take when it comes to Sir Brian Cashman. How do you feel about his offseason? And then throw it up to Jace.
I might be the only one who gives this grade, but I'm going to give him an A minus. Juan Soto was the foundational move to set off the rest of the offseason. I think it's because it was such a slow period between the two trades that Brian Cashman made in such a short time period to when he ended up signing Marcus Stroman to this point now, where it kind of seems like it's dragging out a little bit. It's an A minus. You had a foundational move that you needed to make sure the fans are on your side. You needed either a left fielder or a right fielder, depending on where you felt comfortable, a left-handed power hitter, a left-handed on-base percentage person, and you got that in one player. Oh, by the way, a generational talent at that. So, yeah, it's at least starting with an A minus. Marcus Stroman was a great fallback plan. And this is a guy who, Hector, we've had conversations back and forth how I felt about the initial Marcus Stroman signing to just about now. I feel like this made sense for the Yankees for the price that they got him at. This is a guy who was an NL Cy Young Award winner for 2023 up until the midway point of last year. So that was a great pivot move for them to come off of Yamamoto. They added some needed arms to the bullpen. Caleb Ferguson, Victor Gonzalez. They needed lefties, and they were like, let's call the Dodgers again. It's smart on Brian Cashman, I guess. But yeah, I give him credit, and it's an A minus for me. And honestly, anything now, if you add Snell to the mix, Montgomery, whoever it may be, it only goes up from here. It's an A minus offseason, without a doubt.
Yeah, Jason, throw it over to you. And folks in the chat, my guy Celso backstage, the top producer out there on the webs. He put Richie Rivera's YouTube channel in the chat right there. You could click on the link. Jason's channel's right there. And as well, NYYU's channel is right there. So make sure you guys go and subscribe and help out the local content creators. Go ahead, Jason.
I give him an A minus off season to him right there, Richie. And I'm glad you mentioned the additions to the bullpen. Because they're important too. They've added 4 pitchers to the bullpen and a swingman in Luke Weaver. They've also added better backup positional depth too with Grosh, some of these other guys. So not to be understated too. And at this point, if you add Blake Snell, I think it brings them up to an A. Because I don't want to give up that international money. If you add Jordan Montgomery, an A plus. So the incremental progressions at this point. But I'm right with you, Rich, on an A minus.
I'm listen. Go ahead, Rich.
I'm sorry. I was going to make this additional point. If you were going to give it a B, to me, that means you did the minimum. You fulfilled the positions you needed, and might not have been with like the A plus talent. Not only did they fulfill the minimum, but they did it with fantastic talent that can do it. Yeah. So to me, it's an A minus.
No, I listen. I respect that take, and you back it up with fair points, like Dane just said. But for me, when it comes down to it, Blake Snell, like I said, if we get Blake Snell, it's an A plus off season for me, right? I'm right there with Richie. But the conversation, Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery, I think it's a kind of tricky conversation. One, Blake Snell, like Dane pointed out earlier, he's attached to picks, he's attached to international free agent money. That's the one thing with Blake Snell. When it comes to Jordan Montgomery, this is a guy that we had in our system, that our organization, that our front office said, you know what? He's not a postseason pitcher. He's not that good. We're going to trade him away for a guy in Harrison Bader. On paper, is the best defending center fielder out there in Major League Baseball when he is healthy. I will fight anybody on that. He showed us what he could do when he's healthy, but Jordan Montgomery showed us what he could do in the postseason, and that's what the Yankees didn't get out of Montgomery. If Brian Cashman, we know Brian Cashman never likes to admit when he is wrong or whenever he made a mistake. And I think going back and re-signing Jordan Montgomery is Brian Cashman's admitting he was wrong, and because of his ego, I think he will pivot and be willing to give up the picks and the international money just to feed his ego and just so he doesn't look like he was wrong when it comes to Monty. How do you feel about that, Dane? Is that a fair perspective?
I think that's a very fair perspective. You have to wonder why Monty would want to come back here unless it's an overpay. They said he wasn't a playoff pitcher, and now we're bringing him back. Why does he do that if he's got similar money other places? I think it would take, I don't know, $32 million a year to get Monty, something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be expensive.
Yeah. He's good. Listen, and if you're Jordan Montgomery, this is what you've waited for. You waited to reach free agency, especially after what you did in the postseason. Maximize all you get, just like Juan Soto. And this is what I don't think. Shout out to my guy Gene Fitzmagic in the chat. Gene, how you doing? And this is what I think people aren't factoring when it comes to Juan Soto. Juan Soto, he's waited for this opportunity. He turned down how many contract extension with the Nationals, with the Padres. He's already told the Yankees, Scott Boras, you got to have that conversation with him. And we know how Scott Boras is. He's waited for this moment to reach free agency. Juan Soto is going to have a huge year with the New York Yankees because this is what he's been gearing up for. People are saying that Juan Soto, you had Aaron Judge saying that, yeah, I showed up at 7 o'clock. Juan Soto was here at 6 a.m. already working in the cages. That right there goes to show you dedication. If you watch any of Juan Soto's Instagram over the past 24 hours, early in the morning when he's getting down to George M. Steinbrenner Field, it's dark outside. He's there before the sun comes up. Juan Soto is gearing up for a big season. I want to get your take. Let's throw it around the board. I throw it over to you, Dane. Go it over to Richie and Jason to what I just said when it comes to Juan Soto. What's your thoughts?
I think Juan Soto is going to have a huge season. There was a rumor going around that 21 of the 25 balls that he had in batting practice today were home runs already. So I think that he's gearing up for a huge season. Love to see him there working earlier than everybody else, working harder or as hard as everybody else. He's not your typical superstar that's showing up late or something like that. He's there putting in the work and setting a great example for young kids. I think he's going to have a monster season and compete with Judge for the MVP. Yeah,
Rich, same question going your way, and then throw it over to Jace.
It's gonna be a fantastic year for Juan Soto. And again, as much as I want to sit here and hope that this guy has a rock star year to the point where he's signing an extension prior to hitting free agency, I just realistically cannot see this happening. You know, again, when you're in business with Scott Boras, he basically handles all the business ends of it while you play ball. Only really Jose Altuve's case is a rarity where he just put his foot down and said, I'm staying here in Houston no matter what the cost is. I don't know if Soto's going to be that guy because Altuve, of course, is in the later stages of his career where Soto might not even be in his prime yet.
Yeah.
He's 25. I mean, it's unbelievable to think of. The warning I heed with Soto, because I always like to try to dial it back a little bit. My fanhood, I wear my fan under my sleeve, but I try to dial it back a little bit. If you're going to pay for Juan Soto and you're willing to give him a blank check, there's a lot of money that's coming off the books, but that means also a lot of vacancies that need to be filled as well. So even though you're paying one player, you might convert 5 players of need for one player. Then you still have other vacancies that you need to pay for. So it's a warning I need to heed this early on. It's way too early to call for it, but it's one that I need to throw out there.
And, you know, that's why it's important for fellas like Dane and Los when they cover the Yankees minor league system for the Yankees to produce players that you sprinkle around Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, these big contracts that are young and cheap. That's what you do. And if you can, look at the rumors with the Mets and Alvarez. It's rumored that the Mets are going to offer him a contract extension and try to eat out his early arbitration years. According to the rumors, they offer him 10 years at $80 million. If they could get that done, the Yankees should look and try to get the same deal done. If you can, try to get Volpe for the next 10 years. Follow the blueprint that the Atlanta Braves have laid out. Ronald Acuna is going to be a free agent when he's 31. He is severely underpaid. Jace, I'll throw it over to you to get your takes when it comes to Soto. Sorry about that little rant right now.
You make an important point. It's good that the Yankees point too. It's good that the Yankees have guys like Spencer Jones and Ben Rice and some of these other guys that they could sprinkle in that are at the level now. We now have guys in the farm that can actually come up and produce in the major leagues. And I can't say I remember the last time we've had that. So it's a good thing because to Rich's point too, there's going to be other guys that are going to move on, and obviously Gleyber Torres, but we have guys who can fill up in a spot, right? We have other guys that can fill in other players' spots too. Verdugo might be gone. Trent Grisham might be gone after the following year, but that's why we have Spencer Jones and these other guys, right? So, and to your point, Juan Soto reminds me of two guys, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Why? They were always the first ones him in the morning and always the last ones. It's that work ethic that's making him already kind of a legend in the Yankee fans' minds. And those guys were notorious for being on the courts and putting in the work before everybody else and after everybody else. And Juan Soto shown to be exactly cut from that same cloth.
And when you look at the Soto suffered that cockiness right there to do that, and he did that as a 19-year-old in the World Series. The fact that he did that, it goes to what you just said, Jason. There's not a lot of play, like people talk about that the 5-tool play and stuff like that, but there's a 6-tool that some guys just don't have, and that's the same thing. The DNA makeup that Jeter has, that's the DNA makeup that Jordan has, that Kobe has, that some of our greats have, and a lot of people, they just don't have it. It's that extra factor, if you want to say that. But shout out to the chat. I just want to take a quick second to pause. We got over 170 people rocking with us right now, and we are sitting at 101 likes. If you guys can, run the like buttons up for your boys. Smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. We are sitting at 3,551 subscribers, so hit the subscribe button, help us get our goal to reaching 4K. But fellas, we're gonna do a rapid round right now when it comes to different topics in Yankee camp. Spring training is here, so we're gonna talk about one of the Yankee prospects that I think the Yankees are treating him like the evil stepchild, like the Mets, right? We're going to say the Yankees are treating this prospect like the Mets, and we're talking about Oswald Peraza, a young kid who has a phenomenal glove. If you guys seen his pictures, he looks like he got into a extreme weightlifting program. He put about like extra 10 pounds of muscle. Dane, I'm going to start off with you. What's going to happen with Peraza? Does he even have a chance to make this roster? Is he going to be the starting shortstop at AAA? How do you feel about Oswald?
I've never seen an organization treat a top 50 prospect the way that Oswaldo Peraza has been treated. It's just baffling. He came up and hit over 300 in a small sample size in 2022. And then Volpe won that job last year. There's no disagreeing with that. But they've never given this kid a shot. I think he probably ends up in AAA as a starting shortstop and is moved around the deadline as a trade piece. I hate saying that because he's one of my favorite players I've ever covered, but you got to look with Roderick Arias and George Lombard coming real quick. Where's he going to play?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. True. Yeah. Rich, great points, Dane. Rich, throw it over to you. How you feeling about Mr. Peraza?
So first of all, I want to shout out Chris N in the chat. He's with the Yankees podcast over with Jimmy Randazzo, and we've actually had conversations about Oswald Peraza recently, and I've been very passionate about how the Yankees have treated Oswald Peraza. Dane, you mentioned you don't remember a top 50 prospect getting mistreated as much as Oswald Peraza is. I'd like to throw in Clint Frazier in there, just only because this is a guy who should have been a starting left fielder when the time was right, and they ended up sticking Brett Gardner out there every season when I just felt like he was way past his prime. But for Peraza, Dane, he's got one option left in his contract that he can enact. It's actually an extra option he was able to enact this offseason in his contract, and he should be starting in AAA just to get his at-bats. And for me, if you have this guy on the active roster as a bench player to the veterans up there, you're already devaluing what he could potentially be. You can store him in, almost hide him even in AAA, where he had so much success last year for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, and try to develop him into that blue chip that the Yankee fans were sold on, and end up moving him on for another piece. If you're going to ride with a bench player, then guess what? You have a few non-roster invitees you can give a shot to at spring training. I think that's really what a bench spot should be Therefore, guys like Oscar SpongeBob Gonzalez, guys like Yorbi Vivas, guys like Jordan Groshans, these sort of players should be the ones competing for that spot. Not a guy like Peraza, who was once a blue chip prospect. Yeah, he should be starting in AAA and then eventually dealt.
Everybody, just so everybody know, Rich just let it be known he is not a fan of SpongeBob. So if you're a SpongeBob fan out there, I do apologize for those comments. Those thoughts do not reflect what we feel over here at Morning Brew Sports when it comes to the sponge. Jason, I want to throw it over to you, Jason, to get your take when it comes to Peraza. How you feeling?
I think that's the most logical path to let him keep developing and let him become a very valuable trade piece to be moved at the deadline. Otherwise, he's blocked here in every position possible. So, I mean, probably the best way for the Yankees to honor him at this point would be to move him for a valuable piece, because they're not going to give him a legitimate chance here, unfortunately. So, and I like him too. And with Dane, he's one of my favorite guys, and I'm enamored with his glove and his versatility. But he's just, unfortunately, he's going to fall through the cracks here, and I hate to see that happen for Oswald.
Yeah. Just like the Tryon says on the bottom of the screen, we do apologize for the SpongeBob comments. No, when it comes to Peraza, the way that the Yankees are treating him, to me, I may be a little bit off. It's very reminiscent on how the Mets treated Lasting Millage when he fell out of favoritism.
Oh, yeah.
It's a guy that top prospect, just like Peraza at one point was a top 100 prospect. A lot of hype for the kid. He came up, got his cup of coffee. They didn't like his attitude, and they was just bringing him back and forth. Ultimately, I think Peraza, like you guys, all three of you guys said, will get dealt at the trade deadline, probably for some pitching. He was probably a part of that Corbin Burns trade that never happened. I hope this kid can catch on with another team. I would like it to be here with the Yankees, but like Dane said, we got so many other guys that are in the pipeline. There's just no future for Peraza here, this year. If he comes into spring training and he hits over 400, he's making a case for him to make this roster to have a starting spot. But if it's the same Peraza that showed up to spring training last year, hitting under 300, sloppy defense, he'll find himself back there at AAA.
Spot on.
Yep.
Spot on. I want to highlight some more chats real quick. Caputo, let's talk about DJ LeMahieu. DJ is 36 years old. This could be his last chance to show that he still is the machine. I think the machine, maybe the calculator as of right now because he's 36, but I'll throw it over to you, Dane. What should it take for DJ LeMahieu? That's that Texas Power Instrument. What should it take for DJ LeMahieu, and what's your expectations for him?
He looked better in the second half last year, so I think that there's some hope. I really think that he should be the utility player. I'd really like to see Peraza at third base if they would give him that opportunity and have DJ rotate around. But I think they're going to give DJ that spot. And I have concerns with him in the leadoff position too. Is he really the guy that we want at the top of that lineup? If DJ can be what he was 2 years ago, this team gets real scary. But if he's not, he's a liability, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he is, especially if he can't stay healthy. And when the Yankees re-signed him, I was a bit hesitant because he had hip surgery that offseason. You guys know when it comes to a baseball player, as soon as you have hip surgery, it just starts trickling down and your career could start cutting short. Alex Rodriguez lost his power because of hip surgery. There's been so many amazing baseball players whose careers were altered because of a hip surgery. Rich, throw it over to you. What's your take when it comes to La Máquina, DJ LeMahieu?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Hector. When it came to penning DJ's contract, I was against it only because they had a much younger second baseman with more power that was doing it in a comfortable spot. So why double up on a position that you already had a strength in with DJ? And I understand he was coming off a great, almost MVP season, but it just wasn't the smart move to make. And just to add another right-handed bat to a very righty-laden lineup just did not make sense for the Yankees at the time. For DJ, yeah, I'm right there with Dean. Yeah, I'd love to see Oswald Peraza get his shot as the starting third baseman on his team. He could show you a lot with the leather. DJ spelling 3 positions out of the infield. Hell, that was the role DJ was initially signed up for all the way back in 2019, if you guys remember. That's a role at his age, 36 years old, if I'm not mistaken. That's what he should be doing at this point in his career. He's not the same DJ of old. But here's the other thing, too, guys. I'll take it from this way. if you're going to grant DJ the leadoff spot, if you're going to grant DJ the third base starting job, this is his last chance to show you what you got. He's coming into spring. He's coming into opening day, hopefully healthy. So if he doesn't produce, that's it. That's it. Cut it. That's all she wrote. This is your last chance, DJ, to show that you are still a productive starting player in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Rich just hit it right on the head, and that was a great point. Initially, the Yankees brought him in to be that super utility guy that can give you some high batting average, and let's see what happens. Hopefully, he comes into spring training healthy, but I would love to see Peraza at third base. Jason, let's get your takes when it comes to Mr. DJ LeMahieu.
The same thing here, too. I mean, you know, we're going to need him to have a good on-base percentage if he's going to play leadoff, whether it's putting the ball, whether it's walking, whether it's not making it out at leadoff. That's the key. He can't run. We know that. He runs like Steve Balboni, so he can't run. So, you know, we need the guys behind him, which are going to be Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. So I do not think, and I think he's going to have his fair shot to either walk or put the ball into play, because they're not going to want to pitch around him to face the two guys behind him. And if Gleyber Torres bats fourth, the three guys behind him. So there's no way in the world the pitcher's going to want to see that. So, but I do think he's more suited at this point, to your guys' points too, of being a super utility, maybe batting if he's either going to bat there or in the second half of the lineup, being the super utility guy. And I do think this is an opportunity for him to give Peraza his fair due, like they gave Volpe a full season last year. If there's any time to give Peraza a fair shot for full season, it's now at third base. I mean, you're not going to take any drop off on defense. It's going to get better on defense. Yeah. Oh, and again, if Peraza can put out, whether it's 15 or 20 home runs and a 260 batting average, I'll take that at third base for whatever I can get from a utility. You know, it's better than Josh Donaldson gave us. So
100%.
I'll take the utility. I'll take a healthy.
Seriously.
I'll take 120 games of a healthy DJ than an injured DJ or whatnot. So if it allows us to have that improved defense at third base.
Rich, you wanted to say something again? I saw you put your hand up real quick. Go ahead, brother.
I just a quick point. How deep does that bench sound now when it's Jose Trevino, Oswaldo Cabrera, DJ LeMahieu, and Trent Grisham?
It's not Billy McKinney. That's one thing I can say. It's not last year's bench. Last year's bench. Exactly. But no, great points going around the table when it comes to DJ LeMahieu. Listen, when it comes to DJ, hopefully he can stay healthy. When it comes to Peraza, Jason, you said a great fair point. Just throwing him and giving him the opportunity to be the everyday third baseman. I just hope this spring training, and it looks so far he looks like he is 100% prepared to win that job. Stefan in the chat brought up the fact that he got glasses during the middle of the season last year, so eye adjustment issues could be an issue, or could have been an issue as well when it comes to Peraza. I just want him to have the mentality of he's going to come into spring training and try to win that job. Going to the spring training and try to win that job. Don't go into spring training hoping that DJ LeMahieu or Anthony Rizzo regress so you can have that job just until they get healthy. You go in there and you beat DJ LeMahieu out for that job as a third baseman, and you make him earn his at-bats in the lineup. I know he's making the money, but you're a young kid. Make sure that old fella earns his at-bats.
Yeah.
Now something I saw in the chat real quick, and it's something I wanted to throw around. Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman. I know we touched on Cashman earlier. This is going to be the last thing before we set it up for the open panel. And again, I just want to check, Dane, you guys are good on timing. Jason, you guys are good. You guys, let me know if you need a few more minutes to rock before you guys got to get out of here. Just let me know.
I got a few.
I'm good until about 6:45.
6:45 copy. Richie, you good, baby?
I'm good till midnight.
Copy. Good till midnight. Jace, you good, bro?
I could stay until probably the open panel. Then I gotta go help with the girls bathing and all that stuff.
All right, bet. So 6:30 we do the open panel, so I'll keep you on for 15 more minutes. All right, Jace. Folks in the chat, we got over 170 people still rocking with us. We appreciate all of you beautiful people in the world, and that's including you, Michael Caputo, you handsome son of a bitch. If you guys can, smack the like button and hit the subscribe button for you guys. But let's have that conversation. Let's talk about Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman. Dane, I'll start it off with you. If the fire is underneath them, knock on wood, worst case scenario, the Yankees are 82-80 again. Who is losing their job this offseason? Is it Boone or is it Brian Cashman?
I would like Brian Cashman, but it's more likely going to be Aaron Boone. I just don't Oh, sorry about that. I think
No,
it's probably going to be Brian Cashman. That should lose his job. It's probably going to be Aaron Boone that actually does lose his job if they're not good. I don't think Hal is going to move away from Cashman, unfortunately. I would really like to see a new GM, but I don't think it's in the cards next year.
Yeah, and I've said this on so many different shows. Brian Cashman, his tenure or how Yankee fans view him as the president or being in charge of the New York Yankees, it's going to reflect on what happens with this next group of baby bombers. If the next group of prospects hit and we're able to hit on all of these prospects or half of these prospects, I know that's not reality, but I'm just saying, if we hit on these prospects and we're able to go out there and use our wallet and spend with the best of them, Brian Cashman, he maybe looked a lot better than what he is right now. But if these prospects turn out to be the next Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, Gary Sanchez, Luis Severino, Yankee fans, I know we don't talk about those 4 championships, the dynasty years, or 2009. That would just go out the way. Rich, I want to throw it over to you. When it comes to Booney and when it comes to Cashman, how are you feeling? Who is on the hot seat more, if you have to say one?
It's Boone. Boone doesn't make playoffs, he's out of a job. Boone doesn't get past the championship series, he's out of a job. Boone gets to the World Series, I think he still has a job. I think at the very minimum, us Yankee fans expect this team, with their payroll and with the star players they brought in, to at least make it to the World Series. I even think, listen, if they pull an Atlanta Braves and have an unbelievable season and get knocked out in a 5-game set, Boone's out of a job. Unfortunately, he's the one that's on the hot seat. I know it's kind of an awkward position to refigure that question back to you, Hector, since you had a great conversation with Booney last time. Booney's such a great guy. But he is on the hot seat. Cashman has a job for life. He knows where the bodies are buried. This guy is essentially a Steinbrenner. Cashman's not going anywhere.
He definitely knows where the bodies are buried. Shout out to my brother Pete in the chat. You handsome devil, you. But no, when you bring up Aaron Boone and having that conversation with him, I looked at Aaron Boone in a different light. One, I'm honored that he took time and gave me the opportunity to have a conversation with him and interview him. But on the flip side of it, I believe that Aaron Boone wants to win as bad as us Yankee fans want to win. One, he doesn't want to have egg on his face, right? And two, he comes from not a Yankee. He comes from a baseball family. This is in his blood. He came out the womb with a third baseman glove on, throwing it to first base. That's what it is with Aaron Boone. But I think he's hamstrung by the analytics, and I've been saying that, and we've talked about analytics. That's the word that don't get brought up that much, but I think he gets hamstrung a lot with the analytics. Having a manager or having a former manager as his bench coach when it comes to Brad Ausmus, I think would allow him and Brad Ausmus to game plan more instead of leaning heavily on the analytics. Jason, what's your take when it comes to Cashman and Booney real quick before we get ready to put out the open panel?
Well, I'll put out something from last year. I don't think a manager in the world would have taken the Yankees to the World Series last year with the roster that they have. So that's credit to Boone for that. And that's also Cashman needs to be held accountable for not supplying Boone with the weapons that he needed. On the flip side, he's done exactly the opposite this year. He supplied Boone's with the weapons that he needed to go far in this year, in the postseason. So it would, I think, be Boone on Boone if they don't make it very far. So, but I would agree with you too. He's a baseball lifer, and again, he's, I like the fact that they brought in Brad Ausmus because he brings that Larry Boa type fire.
Yeah,
meant Boone's Zen mentality in the dugout. So he's kind of the Zen, and then you have the fire there now with Ausmus. So, and I like the fact that they brought in James Rosen, who I think draws more similarities to Sean Casey than he does Dylan Lawson. So, and to Dane's point too, DJ was better when he was with Sean Casey last year, and opposed to Dylan Lawson. So I think this guy is kind of like the hybrid between the two. And he's been in Tampa working with some of these guys for like the past month and a half. Gleyber Torres and Herrera. So he's developed a rapport with a lot of these guys already. So I think he's one step ahead of this. So I like the proactive approach that the Yankees have been taking this offseason. And I can't remember the last time we've said that they've had a proactive approach or actually acknowledged needs that they needed to address and actually address them. This is the first time I've heard Cashman say that or any of these guys say that and actually did it. So they're, I give them a lot of credit for that too. But at the end of the day, I think the fall guy, if they don't go far, is probably going to be Boone.
For the past I want to say 3 to 4, maybe even 5. Ever since Aaron Judge came up, we're used to the Yankees being reactionary instead of being proactive, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the past couple of seasons, they've gone into the year of maybe we have a healthy Aaron Hicks. Maybe this person will work out in left field. This offseason, like I said earlier, it seems like they had a different approach when it comes to constructing the roster. They constructed this roster for the simple fact that we know Giancarlo Stanton goes on mini vacations during the season. So they were able to get some pieces to supplement that. I think going forward, when you look at Giancarlo Stanton, I think he's going to have, like, give him the first month of the season, right? If he's not hitting well, then I think where he's at the stage of his career of making him a platoon hitter solely against left-handed hitting. He hit under 200 last year, but against left-handed hitting, he hit 265. He had some home runs as well, a few doubles. So he shows you he can still hit quality left-handed pitching. So if he has to be a platoon player, I can live with Giancarlo Stanton being a 260 or 250 hitter against left-handed pitching exclusively. And then you could use Juan Soto as a DH because he's not the best outfielder when it comes to his defense. And you could utilize that Gold Glover and Trent Grisham. So you can have him in the outfield, DH Juan Soto, keep him healthy, or have Trent Grisham in the outfield, Aaron Judge the DH with Juan Soto in the outfield. It gives Boone more versatility when it comes to the lineup and its construction as well. Jason, we're about to start off for the open panel. I'll let you get your last words before we let you get out of here, brother. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to your point, you mentioned analytics before. I think bringing in Juan Soto, they don't really need analytics for Juan Soto. They don't need analytics for Aaron Judge. Now we have more than one player where you don't even need these people. So I think the Yankees are in a better spot where you don't even have to call analytics people. It's like, I don't need you guys. Juan Soto doesn't need you guys. Just let him play. Okay? You're going to make him worse, not better. So let's leave these guys out of it. So I think the Yankees are in a position now where maybe they don't have to use analytics as much as they did before. So that's a good thing to me. I think it's a good thing.
Definitely. Jason, my brother, appreciate you. Folks in the chat, make sure you guys go subscribe to Jason 161 River Ave. Jason,
always a pleasure.
Make sure you go feed those girls and go chef something good up. You know what I mean? Save a plate for me because I'm hungry.
I gotta go get the Iron Chef on. It's a pleasure, guys. Pleasure meeting you, Rich. Dane, always a pleasure. Hector, love you, brother. I'll talk to you next time.
Love you too, brother. Appreciate you. That was our friend, our guy, Mr. 161 Jason. Like I said, if you aren't subscribed, make sure you guys go subscribe to our guy, Jason from 161. And as well, go subscribe to Richie and Dane over there at NYYU. I'm going to throw the link out there for the open panel, folks. We're just going to rock out to about 6:45 because that's what Dane has to have the hard out, and for me as well. So I got the link in the chat for the open panel. Like always, everybody is welcome to come up here and come rock it out with us. Just be respectful. If somebody is in the middle of giving a take, allow them to finish because the same time will be given to you. And always respect the terms and services of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and of Twitter because we still want to be able to do our jobs and keep our streams popping. So I got my guy, Mikey Caputo. The Dark Knight of the Yankee universe is backstage. I'm going to bring up my guy right now. Caputies, how are you feeling, big fella?
How you doing? What's up, buddy?
I'm good, bro. Listen, Caputis, we're going to make it fast with everybody that's coming up. So I'm going to bring you up, let you give your take, and I'm going to put you down and bring the next person up. That's how we're going to do it. It's a rapid-fire open panel. Caputis, let us know how you feel, you handsome devil.
I'm feeling good. I think that the Blake Snell thing has a chance. But now this latest thing that Bob Clappish put out saying that, don't believe into the hype now because the Yankees camp said that there's a low chance that they sign him. But now I still think there's hope. I don't go by these journalists and these reporters. I still think that the Yankees could sign him because stranger things have happened. I mean, so I think there's still a chance we get him. And if they sign him, I think it's an A+ offseason if they sign Blake Snell.
Listen, my mother always told me you never trust a person that got the word clap in their name, right? Because we already know that's something you never want to catch. But Caputis, we're going to let you go because I'm going to bring up the next person right now. But before we get out of here, prediction record-wise for the Yankees. What's the record at the end of the year? Give us your prediction.
Okay. 93 wins.
Bingo. Bango. I love it, Caputis. See you next time. I think my guy Dane got messed up and bring it back up. You good,
Sorry
Dane?
about
Everything
that.
good?
Yeah, I'm good.
No, all good, brother. So I'm gonna bring the next person up to join with us, and that backstage, the lovely Grace Monroe. Grace, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know if you are ready to rock. This is one half of the GG show. If you guys haven't watched the Grace and Gio show, make sure you do. Call in, leave a voicemail because they do amazing work. Grace, how are you feeling? Baseball is back. Grace Monroe, tell the people.
Hey guys.
Hey Grace.
How you
Great
feeling, Grace?
show. Hey Dane, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Cutie. I'm good. Hey Hector. Hi Rich. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hey, great job with the G&G show. It's a pleasure watching on Saturdays. Fantastic job over there.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. That just made my whole day. Thank you.
No,
the best
great.
episode we had was when we had Dane on, though, for sure.
Nice. Listen, the work that Grace and Gio does, make sure you guys go and tune in every Saturday. They do amazing work right now. And we may be planning something for the All-Star game. I'm not sure. Just be on the lookout for that. But Grace, I want to throw it over to you before we bring up the next person. How are you feeling when it comes to the conversation? Blake Snell, how's your mind going? Don't give too much tea. Save some tea for Saturday, but let the people know how you feeling.
We're talking about Blake Snell. Originally, I didn't want Blake Snell just being like keeping it 100. I really wanted Monty, but I don't think Monty is trying to come back to New York. And I think that, you know, early in the offseason, there were rumors that the Yankees were interested in Monty, and then we never heard anything else. And I think Monty shut it down. I think that he or his agent rather said, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm not going back to New York, them or whatever, you know. So now, then we made the offer to Snell, and then we didn't hear anything else. And we were like, okay, you know, they countered, and we were like, hard pass. So now it's like a rumor. I'm not sure if Boris put it out or if it's real at this point. I hope it's real just because it's not my money. And it'd be great.
Yeah,
right? It'd be great. But yeah. Does that answer your question?
No. I got it, Grace. Trust me. When it comes, me and Dane already said it. If it's not my money, I definitely love spending other people's money. That's the one thing that I love doing. You know, my favorite price is always free. Free is always the best price on the menu. But no, when it comes down to it, I agree with you. It's just with the tax implications. The only reason why I want, and Dane, you make great points about the picks and the IFA money that's attached to it. Those are solid points, and the Yankees utilize that because, like you said, we don't sit back and try to get first draft picks or first overall picks or top picks in the draft. We try to be competitive year in and year out. So it's easy for other teams to be bad for some years, but they just have to hit on their prospects. When it comes to Blake Snell, that's just the move that I'm happy going into the season with this. But if we make that move, it's just brings us over the hump. Grace,
I agree.
Last take before you get out of here. One more secret thing for the folks. How you feeling about spring training?
Oh, okay. One more secret thing. Well, it's not that big of a secret, but I am so drinking the Marcus Stroman Kool-Aid right now. Like, so I can't get enough of him. Like, I'm watching all of his clips from spring training, everything he's been putting out. Him walking in, y'all, I know I said this on the GG show, but listen, him walking into spring training for the first day with the vintage Yankees hat on, I was like, okay, let's go. And then he was like, interviewed by Meredith. Shout out to my girl, Meredith Moragovitz, the one and only. She's so great. Anyway, when I saw them last year when they came to Arlington and I went to the game, I was more excited about seeing Meredith Moragovitz than half the team, to be honest. But that's neither here nor there about Willie Calhoun. So Marcus Stroman is so locked in. Like, especially after all the smack that he talked and after he could have said no. He could have tucked his tail between his legs, and Cashman could have done the same thing. Both of them manned up, right? And he is like all in. I love it. I cannot get enough of him right now. And did you see the clip of him hugging Austin Wells?
Oh, yeah.
After Wells went deep on him?
I'm not.
Yeah, after Wells went deep on him, Dane. Yeah, that's a fact. Go ahead, Grace.
No, that's all. I'm trying to be calm, but you know, it's not in my nature. So I am fully
Listen, Grace, I think every Yankee fan feels the same way that with you right now on the inside, because spring training is here. I know Super Bowl Sunday happened, but you know, once the Super Bowl is over, it's my favorite time because I mean, baseball is around the corner. Grace, appreciate you for hopping on, taking some time. Like I said, make sure you tune in this Saturday. Call, leave a voicemail. Grace and Gio. Grace, appreciate you.
Hector, can I just jump in for a quick second?
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Can we call? I'm calling this the honeymoon phase with Mr. Marcus Stroman right now. Everything I'm seeing
Speak
with
on
him,
it.
Fantastic. I love it. I love seeing him happy. But guys, it's a new relationship. Stroman has to satisfy a lot of people he's pissed off over the years. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but can we wait until what happens during the course of the season before we really see what we got out of Marcus Stroman?
Yeah, no, Dane, I mean, Rich, I'm with you because the optimistic Yankee fan in me is jumping out of the window when talking about Marcus Stroman. I don't got no hair on my head, but I may get me a do-rag just so I could rock out with Marcus Stroman every time he makes a start, right? When I was younger, I couldn't get the waves. I tried, but I couldn't get it to happen. Maybe the bald waves will come in when I get a little bit into the season. But we got a few more people backstage rocking out with us. I got Chris and I got Damien and I got Snell. Like I said, I'll bring you guys up as you showed up in the queue. Yes, Sunil's still there. He's not frozen. All right, so Chris, and let me get a thumbs up, Chris. Let me know you're ready to rock out. There you go. Sunil's good. All right, Damien's good. Okay, so I'm gonna bring Chris up real quick. My guy, Chris, first time on the open panel. How are you feeling, brother?
I'm good, fellas. Loving the conversation today, man. You know, Hector, it's always love, brother. Rich, you know, we talk a couple times a week. Always love. Dane, I'm getting to know you a little more, and I'm loving what you're saying out there, man. All love.
Thanks, Chris.
That's the man right there, Dane. But Chris, the floor is yours, my guy. Like I said, it's Chris's first time on an open panel, so you can take the conversation wherever you want to go. What's on your mind when it comes to this team, brother?
I'm loving it. I mean, I'm loving everything we did. You know, we as Yankee fans, we can always want more. We can always say Yamamoto and Snell and all this stuff. But the team is constructed really well. I'm loving the vibes from the guys. You know, Glaber coming in with a stash, like little things like that. It's a clubhouse thing, you know. And when you have a tight clubhouse, it leads onto the field. You know, the performances end up coming out. You know, one thing I did want to say is Stanton slimming down is a big thing. I think that doesn't get overlooked because, you know, obviously his body has broken down in a couple years. You know, the different approaches off season may result in more games. And if it does result in more games, regardless of the statistics, Stanton healthy in a lineup changes a lot for a lineup. So I think that's great. And two things I wanted to say before I get out of here, because I know, you know, there's a couple of people on. Nestor striking out Soto today is more of a testament to Nestor than it is to Soto. It shows that Nestor may be Nestor again, and that is so valuable to our pitching lineup. So valuable. A healthy Nestor, and Wells may be a big piece for us this year. You know, and again, you know, maybe Trevino being a little dinged up early in the season can give Wells some extra starts to start the season and can really skyrocket him later on. So, yeah, those are the couple things that I wanted to touch on, man. I'm really looking forward to the season, and I do want to say 96 wins.
Yeah, Chris, appreciate you. Like I said, open door policy whenever you want to jump on an open panel. Make sure you guys go and follow Chris and Jimmy Randanzo, friends of the shows, friends of the channel. They do amazing work with the work that they do. Chris, my brother, appreciate you. You be safe. Thing. Go ahead,
Love
baby.
the Knicks content, baby. Love the Knicks content.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Listen, I'm not sure if you're in the city, but this Saturday we're going to be by the Garden, Blarney's Bar. We're doing a watch along with Big Tone, Thanos, and the Knicks community. Chris, I'm not sure if you're in New York City, but if you could come by the Garden on Saturday, you're more than welcome to. No cover charge. You could come right in, all right, baby?
I'm in Pennsylvania, but I will make some trips. The more you guys do, I will make the trip. I'm only an hour and a half away.
Copy. I'll let you know. You just let me know and we'll link. All right, baby?
Okay, baby. Have a good night, fellas.
Later, bro. Peace, my guy. That's our guy, Chris. Like I said, make sure you guys go and follow them. They do amazing work. Damien, I see you backstage. Let me get a thumbs up. I'm going to bring Damien up real quick. I'm going to bring Damien up real quick, and then I'm going to bring up Sunil.
It just gets better and better over here.
It definitely does, because now we got Damien in the building. My guy, the fly guy,
Damien,
Mr.
what's up,
Damien Serrano. How you feeling, bro?
What's going on, everybody? I'm feeling great. Dane, Hector, my guy, Richie Rich.
Dane.
Love the show, by the way, man. Love it.
Appreciate you.
Peeping in. You guys know what it is.
I appreciate you with that earlier in the show too. The mod gang is strong out here. Appreciate you, bro.
No disrespect on the Morning Brew to nobody, so it's not happening. Absolutely. Yo, Yankee season is here, fellas.
Yeah. Go ahead. Floor is yours, bro.
One thing, I think maybe only one person might be hyped about this, and be me in the name of Jigga, but Big G, comeback player of the season, guarantee it, book it. Listen, I know there's a lot of doubters out there, but there's something about G that you can't underestimate, and that's that the guy is a gamer. There you go, Jigga. There you go. The guy's a gamer. He put himself in extraordinary physical health. The one thing that I love from today that was stated was he wants to be a baseball player again. So that means that my guy put in some serious work. He looks amazing. Don't count him out. Anybody who does is foolish. And I think the guy's out there to really prove a point. And there's something about somebody who wants to prove a point and shut everybody up, but more importantly, shut Brian Cashman's goddamn mouth up. So listen, Big G's in for it. And another thing, Aaron Judge doesn't say things just to say them. That press conference today, obviously he mentioned that he doesn't believe the Yankees are done. My guy, whenever he speaks, he's kind of like Derek in that sense. But whenever he says, there's meaning to it. So I think there will be a signing, whether it's Snell or Monty. I'm good with either one. I welcome Monty back with open arms. I never wanted to see the guy gone in the first place. I thought he was always underappreciated, always undervalued with the organization. People forget what he did for us against the Rays in the playoffs. And the Yankees just never threw him back out there. And I just never understood why. The guy's an absolute gamer, and he's proven he's also got something. He's also somebody who will come into the organization again and again look at Cashman and say, "I'm going to shut you up." So automatically, I would love to bring either one of them, whoever it is. However, if I think Snell comes in, possibility of a 6-man rotation with Cole staying at his 5th day. Cole will always be on his 5 days. Everybody else, possibly, again, six-man rotation. And that's to keep Snell fresh, Nesta fresh, anybody with a question mark, Rodon fresh, and anybody with a question mark, that's to keep them fresh. And then last but not least, Nesta. One thing that I always think to myself, if Nesta was a first-round pick and not a 37th-round pick, would everybody question him the way they do? And I don't think they would. Nesta had 2 really good seasons. He proved himself. I don't know about the rest of the fan base. The guy's proved himself. And I think Nesta has a lot to prove, not only to himself, but the entire fan base. So everybody, I kind of say this all the time, put some respect on Nesta's name. The guy has proven some real ability out there. And I think Nesta's in for a really big season. I think the entire Yankee team is in for a big season. 98 wins. Book it.
Damien, my guy, you've been A1 since day one, my guy. I can't wait to link with you when I'm down there in Florida.
Absolutely.
I definitely will lock in with you. Damien, my guy, appreciate you. It's always an open panel. It's always nice. We got Mr. Fast and the Furious, my guy, Damien Serrano. You be safe, baby, all right?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Take care, fellas.
All right, be blessed, Damien. Have a good
Hector,
one.
Actually, to Damien's point again, Nesta Cortez as a comeback of the year candidate, absolutely. 21-22, he was the best statistical pitcher on the Yankees. 2.61 ERA and 250 inning pitch, and he struck out 266 batters. We need that Nesta Cortez back.
Go ahead, Dan. You was about to say something. I was just about to throw it to you.
No, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Do your thing, brother. I was just about to start ready to wrap things up. Dane,
thank
go
you
ahead.
so much for having me.
Where they can follow you.
Come check us out on NYYU with Pete and I and the Yankees Farm Report on the Yankees Farm channel. And then we have the Farm Report on NYYU. So come check us out. Love to see you guys. Thanks for having me on so much. I'm out.
Again, Dane, appreciate you for your time. Sorry we went so long, my guy. We definitely got to do this again. All right, bro?
Sure. Later, guys.
That's our guy Dane. And like my guy Pete in the chat says, smacky the likey and hitty the subby. We have over 150 people still rocking with us. If you guys can, smack the like button. We are sitting at 121 likes. Let's get it up to 150. And we are at 3,556 subscribers, on our way to 4K before the start of the new season. And now the last person that I'm going to bring up, he is the wise sage of the Yankee community. He plays Dungeons and Dragons, and he is always a mage. I'm going to bring up my guy, Sunil to the open panel. Sunil, how are you feeling, my guy?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good, baby. I'm good. The floor is yours. What's your thoughts before we get out of here, bro?
Dane always just absconds before I show up. I mean, he just doesn't like me. I think I know where it's at.
Well, he let me know in the private message. Sunil's coming. I'm leaving right now because Sunil's coming.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
No. It's never that. Go ahead, Sunil.
Yeah, first time seeing Rich, so
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. So first things first, Big G slimming down. I think he's been listening to my criticisms of him on the open panels when I say, give me G for like 90 minutes a day on the treadmill. I'll have him stealing more bases than Volpe. He probably could be our leadoff hitter the way he slimmed down.
Listen, Giancarlo Stanton, he is looking good. I'm not sure the competition because I've lost about like 30 pounds since the start of the new year.
Yeah,
and I know you were on your weight loss journey as well. So Giancarlo, he heard about us, so he's like, I can't let these guys be the only one. I gotta get in on it. And he's looking good.
He's like, screw these content creators. I'm the next Chip and Dales.
Right there. Rich, I want to just toss it over to you real quick, and then we'll bounce it back over to what Sunil just said. But to his point about Giancarlo Stanton, I said this earlier before you came on. I think Stanton, he is the biggest X factor in this lineup.
Oh yeah,
right, because he is constantly injured. He clogs up that DH spot. He makes so much money. If Giancarlo, we know what Judge is going to do. We know what Soto's going to do. Gleyber, Verdugo, because they're all three on walk seasons. When you look at Soto, Verdugo, and Torres. But when it comes to Stanton is more of an X factor is if he's healthy more than Anthony Rizzo, because we know Anthony Rizzo, when he's healthy, what he can do. It's the big issue with Giancarlo Stanton. How you feel about our guy Big G?
Listen, I'm so happy this man leaned down because now he can put himself in a position where he can be a presence for the Yankees. And even if he's going to be the guy that's going to tail it back with home runs because he slimmed down, and sometimes that always never works out anyway, that's fine. The Yankees have three prime players in that lineup that can hit 35 plus home runs. If Stanton's a guy that maybe pops 25 but stays healthy and maybe hits you 240, I think I could take that from Giancarlo Stanton. He's got two things working against him. First, of course, it's the lack of production. If he does not produce, yes, I think Hector, you might be right. He might have to be forced into a platoon situation with an Alex Verdugo if it gets to that point. The second thing working against him, and unfortunately not really in his control, but if the Yankees' outfield defense is a shaky one, if it's primarily Soto, Verdugo, and Judge out there, Trent Grisham's going to have to be forced to play the outfield more, and that means less time spent for Giancarlo Stanton in the batting order. I'm so happy he put in the work, though, and I hope this works out for him because this might be a last chance season before there's a legitimate conversation come 2025 that Stanton might just get cut.
True. Yeah. Sunil, go ahead, brother.
So if you look at the numbers behind Stanton's production, look at the exit velo, launch angle, and all the things. Exit velo has been his primary benefit, at 110, 115, somewhere between there and 120, given an average range. He's not a guy who we know to be more for launch angle. That would be more like your Aaron Judge, the way he swings the bat. Yeah. Stanton is lucky he hits line drives and they leave the park basically with his exit velo. And now with his lost, weight and his slimming down, I would much rather see him split the gaps more. And with the improvements he's done on the lower body, I expect his doubles output to increase alongside with the possibility of his home run output to maybe, slip a little. But hey, we don't want home run or nothing. We've had too many years of that. We want batters to basically wreak havoc at the plate because we expect to have a shit ton of traffic. We expect to make the Cross Bronx and the LIE look good on a bad day.
Listen, I got to tell you a joke real quick. You just brought up the Cross Bronx. I worked 911. I was an EMT for years working the South Bronx. The Cross Bronx, we call that the highway from the Matrix. You don't get on the Cross Bronx because it's always traffic. No matter what time of the day, the Cross Bronx, it's flooded with traffic. So now I want to just throw it over to you to get your last take. When it comes to spring training, you brought up Giancarlo Stanton. What is the ultimate takeaway from spring training besides Stanton you want to see before we go into the season and we get ready to wrap things up?
Stanton, stay healthy. Pretty much the whole team really stay healthy. Stanton, Nestor, Rodon, all of these guys were, IL victims last year. We need these guys to be a little less of that and basically be available. The best ability is availability. And to your joke earlier, I wanted to just add one context to that. I call that the clogged Bronx Expressway.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. The Cross Bronx, it's literally, it stands still all year round, no matter the time. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Joe Caputo from the shift. Joseph, my guy, Joe, appreciate you, my guy. Another great Yankee content creator. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you guys go and subscribe to my guy, Joe from the shift. Richie, I got to set it up. Me, you, and Joe. We got to have an open panel one of these days. Joe, let me know. I'll set it up.
Shout out to Joe. I watch his content all the time. He does such a great job.
Yeah, so now
and Joe,
appreciate you, my guy.
Even when Joe's in the chat and he's not speaking, he's still loud as hell.
Wait, say that one time. You froze. I didn't hear that on my end.
I'm saying for Joe Caputo, even when he's in the chat and he's not speaking on camera, he's still loud as hell.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. Even when he put great show, guys, I heard him screaming it as he was typing it into his keyboard. But Sunil, appreciate you, my guy. Always great seeing you on the open panel. Can't wait for the season. Richie, appreciate you taking time out today, bro, to join me for this. I got one question, one more, and then we're going to get ready to wrap it up. But John in the chat says, does anyone on the panel fear Holmes as the closer and the pressure-filled must-win game? When he does not have it, he can look terrible. He has good stats, but I do not trust him in high pressure. Shout out to you, John. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. And I like your profile pic. It said, I'm sorry I broke up the Beatles. That is a nice profile pic with the baseball signature. But I want to throw it over to you, Rich. What's your take? Again, we've had these conversations about Clay Holmes. That's why I was saving it. I'm a petty bastard, and I wait for petty moments. Go ahead, Rich. The floor is yours.
You had the devil on your right shoulder telling the devil on their right shoulder to ask this question to me because I'm the one Yankee fan that's been behind Clay Holmes this whole time. Look at his numbers. 2.50 ERA, and predominantly a closer with the Yankees. Name me, please. Name me 3 relievers with better numbers over that span. 3. And that's all you're going to find. 3. He is a top 5 closer in baseball of the last 2 years and a half. I rest my case. Look at the numbers.
Hey, you ain't got no argument from me, Rich, when it comes to that. But no, when it comes to Clay Holmes, I think it all comes down to health. His back be barking, and when his back is barking, his sinker is flat and his slider is not breaking. His slider turns into a batting practice fastball. It's all about health, just like with the rest of our team. It's all about health. If our guys stay healthy, they can be special. We've seen it. When Clay Holmes is on, we've seen it. The only opposition I have to Clay Holmes, Rich, is that he's not known as a strikeout pitcher. He's more of a ground ball pitcher. Sure. And me, I like to be traditional. If I'm gonna have a closer, I'm gonna need my closer to be a strikeout, ninth inning guy, because those ground balls during the regular season, those are outs. But in the postseason, sometimes a special bounce can make that a single or a double, depending on where it gets by the infielder. So that's my only reservations when it comes to Clay Holmes.
In Yankee Stadium, it plays well, though, and that's pretty much a big reason why the Yankees penned Marcus Stroman to begin with. I mean, that demon sinker is on. Clay Holmes is untouchable. I mean, here's the thing. I can't even remember a home run that Clay Holmes gave up of significance. Can't remember one. If you can.
No. Yeah, no, not a home run, but I've seen, and again, shaky defense, right? I could point to when we first got Josh Donaldson that first year. I could point to 6 games that we lost because of his sloppy defense at third base, and he was supposed to come and be a Gold Glover. First one off my mind, we was in Fenway Park. We had a 3-run lead in the 9th inning. Josh Donaldson, 2 errors cost us the game. So no, I'm right with you, Rich, when it comes to that. Again, appreciate everybody that is in the building. We are going to wrap things up. I just want to say appreciate everybody for tuning in, being interactive in the chat, our moderators as well, the open panel guests, appreciate you. I want to shout out some people as we get out of here. Donnie Clark, sorry about that. Appreciate you. Grace Monroe, I definitely appreciate you. Miss Hollywood, that is my favorite right there. Michael Caputo, appreciate you. FL Diver, appreciate you. My guy, Jonathan, it's never too late. I appreciate you, Jonathan. Damian Serrano, my guy. Brett Alexander. Who else we got in the building? Anthony Garcia, and then we had Anthony Medina in the building as well. Shout out to Anthony Medina, and we got our guy Macho King in the building. Now I'm gonna let everybody know this in the chat right now, right? Just to let you guys know. You guys heard me talk about this whole like weight loss journey and stuff that I'm doing. It's really for my back. You guys heard me talk about my back situation that I've had over the past couple of years, but ultimately my end goal is to, at the end of the year, I haven't even told this to Celso yet, so this is the first from everyone. At the end of the year, I plan on running in the New York City Marathon, and I plan on representing Morning Brew Sports, and I plan on doing it to be as a fundraiser for certain charities that are in the city. So just be on the lookout, pay attention to what we got going on. Appreciate everybody in the building rocking out with us. Rich, last words before we get out of here.
Hector, best of luck with the goal. I know you got this, man. Listen, you do a hell of a job here. You put so much passion to this, and you've been putting passion into yourself as well on the side. I think the race is in November, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, let's go, baby. A few more months. Let's get this thing. I love hearing it. And yeah, shout out to the chat. One of the best chats out there. Obviously, I got to include my own chat over at Empire State of Baseball. But this chat is fantastic. I look forward to Tuesdays and Thursdays to be a part of this community with you guys. You guys are fantastic. You welcome me all the time, and I really do appreciate it. And, of course, just the follows. At ESP Podcast on X, at Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. But make sure to give us a sub over on YouTube as well. We're back to doing weekly shows starting March the 4th. At 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So join us if you're part of the Yankees community, the Mets community. We have a bit of both. So make sure to join us on March 4th for Empire State Baseball.
Yes. And again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you drink some water and say something nice about your neighbor. And until the next time, or like Rich was doing, have a little beer. Deuces.